Hello students, welcome to another video on biology for class 8. Today's discussion will be on the chapter circulatory system in humans. Now, when we talk about the circulatory system, you know that it is one of the systems in your body which is specialized specially to transport blood throughout your body. And in the blood you have different nutrients, gases and hormones which get mixed in the blood and they flow in the different parts of your body through the help of the circulatory system. Now when we talk about this system, there are three parts that are important, that is blood vessels and the heart. The circulatory system is a specialized, well-developed system to transport blood throughout the body, and it is consisting of the blood vessels in the heart. Now you have read in class 6 that blood is a fluid connective tissue, and it is running around in your body carrying the transporting various essential substances like oxygen and nutrients to all the parts of the body. And the blood is mostly composed of the plasma and the blood cells. There are three kinds of blood cells, as you know, that is the red blood cell, white blood cell and the blood platelets. The RBCs or the red blood cells are also called the erythrocytes. The white blood cells or the WBCs are also called leukocytes, and the blood platelets are also known as thrombocytes. This is just a revision of what you have already done in class 6. Now you know that blood is red in color. Do you know what makes it red? It is because of the hemoglobin. And this is an iron protein. The hem means it stands for iron and protein is a globin. So the hemoglobin is something which combines with the oxygen, it combines the nutrients and takes to the different parts of your body. The white blood cells, they are generally larger than the RBCs and they do not have the hemoglobin. So that's why they are colorless. The blood platelets are also colorless and they are disc shaped, and also they are without the nucleus. The main work of the blood platelets is to help in the clotting of the blood. And all these corpuscles or the cells, how they are moving? They are moving through tube-like structures called the blood vessels. The blood vessels again are of three types. As you can see, it is arteries, veins and capillaries. I've tried to symbolize each one of them here. You can see the artery is generally having thick wall, and it is elastic and muscular vessels are there which carry the blood generally from the heart to all the parts. That is done by the artery. In the vein you can see it is thin wall is thin, and it is having valves carrying the blood towards the heart from different parts of the body. And the capillaries, as you can see, I have made it with thin wall, one single layer of epithelium, and the capillaries are the very fine blood vessels which are connecting the arteries and the veins. So after giving you a brief introduction about blood vessels, we are going to study the part of the chapter heart. Now when we talk about the human heart, some points that you should know that it is a pear-shaped muscular organ in your body located in the chest cavity, the upper part of your body, that is the chest, and it is just around the size of a clenched fist. And the adult heart is around 12 cm in length and 9 cm breadth-wise, weighs around 300 grams approximately, and the wall of the heart is made up of cardiac muscles which are working tirelessly throughout your life. Even when you sleep, the heart muscles are working, and these heart muscles are helping for pumping the blood. The heart is also enclosed in a double-layered sac-like structure called the pericardium, which is filled with a special fluid called the pericardial fluid. And what is the role of this fluid, children? It is helping your heart and protecting it from shocks and jerks. You know that your heart is contracting and it's pumping. As it is pumping the blood, it has to protect itself from any kind of shocks and jerks. So the fluid, the pericardial fluid, is responsible for protecting the heart from the shocks. Now we shall discuss the external structure of the heart, which is in the portion for ICC 2020. Now you can see I've tried to draw the heart for you here, the external structure. Now internally your heart is having 4 chambers, which has been shown here, 2 auricles and 2 ventricles, which outside you don't feel as if it is divided, but inside they are separated. So we are having 4 chambers internally, 2 auricles and 2 ventricles. You can see some parts I have marked with red and some with blue. Generally, the blue parts which I've shown here, these vessels, blood vessels, they are generally carrying the impure or the deoxygenated blood containing more of carbon dioxide. And the red color ones are showing the blood containing the oxygenated blood, which is the blood containing more oxygen. So if you see one of the greatest big vessels, you can see blood vessels, that is the aorta. Then you also have the pulmonary artery, which is actually connected from the right ventricle. It is carrying the deoxygenated blood to the lungs to make it purified. Also, pulmonary artery is the only artery which carries the deoxygenated blood. Generally, arteries carry the oxygenated blood. Then we can see the pulmonary vein, which is bringing in the pure blood from the lungs to the heart. That is, lungs are giving more oxygen, and that oxygen is combined and the pulmonary vein brings it back to the heart. So actually there are 2 pipes which connect and form one. Then this is where it drops, that is the left auricle. This is the outer part. And these veins and arteries can be seen in red and blue. Then this side we have the left ventricle, this side we have the right ventricle. Then from the lower part, the inferior vena cava brings the impure blood, and from the superior part or the upper part of the body, the impure blood is brought by the superior vena cava, and they drop it in the right auricle, from where it goes to the right ventricle, and then from the pulmonary artery it comes back through the pulmonary vein, bringing in the pure blood to the left side of the heart. Now this is the external structure. Now let us see the internal structure of the heart. Now in the internal structure of the heart, you can see, when I open up the heart, you can clearly see the 4 chambers, 2 auricles as I told. The upper parts are the 2 auricles, which are the receiving chambers, as they are receiving blood from different parts, and the 2 ventricles, which are generally the discharging chambers, because from there the blood is going to different parts of the body. So as I was telling you, now what happens in this circulation, I'll just tell you in short, explaining the different parts that you see here. Now the blood from the superior vena cava and inferior vena cava is brought into the right auricle. Now you can see some valves here. There are 4 valves. Now what are these valves? They are regulating the blood flow from the auricles to the ventricles and to the various parts of the body. They are working like doors, you can see, and once the blood from one part goes to the other, the valve close and they prevent the backward flow of the blood. Now once it reaches the right auricle, the blood is then pumped into the right ventricle, and the tricuspid valve, which is in the right side, closes. Now from here, the impure blood, I have shown the blue mark arrow, the impure blood is taken to the lung with the help of the pulmonary artery. Now here in front of this pulmonary artery, in the beginning there is a pulmonary valve, which is allowing flow of blood from the right ventricle to the pulmonary artery. After it goes to the lungs, as I told you, it will get in pure air, oxygen will be mixed in the blood, and that oxygenated blood is coming back through the pulmonary vein into the left auricle. And here you can see the bicuspid valve between the left side, and this blood is pure and it comes to the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, with the help of the aortic valve, once it goes up, the aortic valve will close and not allow or prevent the backward flow of blood into the ventricle. So the blood is going from the aorta to the various parts of the body, from the head to the toe. So you can see that the Auricle and ventricle blood cannot mix because there are the different valve. What about auricle and auricle and ventricle and ventricle? There is a layer separating the mixing of blood from the left to the right side. This is done with the help of septum. Now in the auricles, the septum is called the interauricular septum, which I have not shown in the diagram, and the ventricles are separated by the interventricular septum. The septum is separating the mixing of blood between the auricles and between the ventricles. So this is what the internal structure of the heart looks like. Moving on to the next part, that is the heart's natural pacemaker. Now you know there is a cluster of cells in the upper part of the right auricle which is actually helping in coordinating the heartbeat. So that cluster of cells is known as the sinoatrial node or the SA node, and they generate the heartbeat with the help of the electrical impulses, and that's why they are known as the heart's natural pacemaker. But at times people do have defective rhythms. Their rhythms become abnormal because of defect in this natural pacemaker, and then the heartbeats become faster or slower, or maybe a combination of both. Then we will have to put an artificial pacemaker in our body. You might have even heard about people having a pacemaker in their heart. And as I had already discussed, I would quickly like to review the different blood vessels in the heart. You know that the blood vessels are either entering or they are leaving the heart, and the very big ones are known as great blood vessels, the ones which are entering and leaving the heart. So first one is the vena cava, as we already saw the superior and the inferior vena cava, which were bringing the impure blood or the deoxygenated blood from the body to the heart. Then we have the coronary arteries and veins. These are the coronary blood vessels which include the coronary arteries and veins, and you had seen coronary is relating to the heart. They supply the oxygenated blood to the heart muscles, and also coronary veins, they are returning the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle. The coronary arteries are supplying oxygenated blood, and the coronary veins are returning the deoxygenated blood. Then I also showed you the aorta in the diagram, or the systematic aorta, what we call, and it is a main artery. Please remember, the main artery of the heart artery is the aorta, which arises from the left ventricle, and that is carrying the oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to all the parts of the body except the lungs. Now moving to the last blood vessels, that is the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein. Now these are the exceptions, so you need to remember that pulmonary artery carries the deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs for purification, that is the addition of more oxygen, and the pulmonary vein carries the oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left auricle. And as the pulmonary artery is carrying the impure blood and the pulmonary vein is carrying the oxygenated blood, remember. So with this, for today, I would like to wind up. I hope you have understood the basic working of the heart, the internal and external structures and the various blood vessels, and how the circulatory system is helping you. If you have understood the content, please don't forget to like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Please do comment if you like it. Thank you for watching.